Have you ever wondered the difference between INTJs and ENTJs? In this video, we're going to go over some similarities, differences, and compatibility issues. So let's get into it. So let's get into this comparison. INTJs and ENTJs, they're pretty similar types in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of key differences in their cognition that makes them pretty different as well. So yeah, they have a lot of similarities, often stemming from their ego functions that are the same. So while they're not in the same order, they have the same ego functions, Ni, Te, Se, Fi, and they kind of share these functions, and it can make a lot of their motivations pretty similar and a lot of their expressions pretty similar as well. But there's some core differences in that functional order that really changes how they act and interact in the world. INTJs are heart temple, they're passion focused, they care about putting on big shows and doing what they want and following their passions, whereas the ENTJs are a little bit more about legacy of what they leave behind, how they're going to be remembered. So yeah, so both types, they make freedom-based decisions. I put in How I Met Your Mother there just because Robin and Barney, for example, Robin being an INTJ and Barney being an ENTJ, they're both very independent. They like to make their own decisions. Robin's very career focused, very driven, whereas Barney's, very social, wants to be around lots of people. And so there's a lot of freedom-based decision making, very pragmatic, independent decision making within these characters and just within these types in general. INTJs like to go their own way. They like to do what they want. They like to have the final say. They like to be the leader. ENTJ is pretty similar in that way. They like to have an ambitious course. They like to follow it. Because these types are both NT types, they can be pretty knowledge focused or career focused, money focused, however you want to frame that. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, very much independent, going their own way, going on their own path. They really care about that as well. And yeah, like I said, both want to make decisions that gain money, status, respect, fame, whether it's in their career, whether it's, acknowledgements, credit, whether it's, just general amounts of money to gain, respect, to gain people's acknowledgement, to gain people's, knowing of them, like fame, to be known by other people. And these types, they like to have that kind of career focus that gets them money, that gets them respect and knowledge. They like to spread truth as well. These types can definitely like sharing knowledge, showing knowledge, whether it's in something like journalism or independent freelance entrepreneurship. So these types can definitely be pretty focused on that extroverted thinking function as well. Both types care about that. They care about credit. They care about, getting to a high point in their ambition, whatever that might be. Often is career focused, but it can be in different things as well. These types both have introverted feeling as well, so that means they both want to be cared for by other people. They both, want to express their feelings. While ENTJs will shove down their feelings a little more because it's in that inferior aspirational slot, INTJs, they have FI child, so they're a little bit more, pure and optimistic about their feelings, but at the same time, they still can be a little bit, shy about them. And both of these types like to be told the truth because they have extroverted thinking. It means they want other people to be honest. They want other people's thoughts. They want other people's, to be real with them and tell them the truth. And so they can really, really be upset if people lie to them or mislead them or betray them, which I'll get to in the next point, where they like to have people stick around for them to be by their side because they're going to be ambitious. They're going to go in a direction. They're going to be trying to achieve all these accomplishments and this credit and the status that they're going for, and they want people to be along for the ride. They want people to be their loyal sidekick for them and to remember the things they do and stick around for them in this process. So those are a lot of similarities in their cognitive functions, but there's some differences as well. INTJs have NI hero, which means NI is in their first slot, whereas ENTJs have NI parent, which means it's in their second slot. And so this kind of means INTJs, they're going to put their ambitions first. They're going to really try to go after what they want, even if it's creative and bold and in a different direction and independent. And, maybe if not everybody's going to think highly of them or like them, but they're going to do it anyways. Whereas the ENTJs have NI parent, so they can be a little bit more responsible with what they want. They want to make a really good choice that makes sense, and they're going to do all this research, really understand what people think highly of, really understand, all the logistics, all the things it takes to get there, all of the different levels, all the different layers in the system. And they're going to figure out their path in a little bit more responsible way, whereas INTJs can be even more determined and kind of independent of that and try to go in a very new direction. That's a really creative way of kind of addressing it. And yeah, like I said, ENTJs have that TE hero, whereas INTJs have TE parent. That means ENTJs are really optimistic about what people think. They're optimistic about their research, about, stats, and they like to read articles, read books, listen to people, ask people what they think, do research online, learn things. And while INTJs can enjoy that as well, they do it in a little bit more of a skeptical way. They're a little bit more distrusting of like their sources. Maybe they think people are lying, or they think things are fake news, and so they might be a little bit more distrusting of what you look up online, or distrusting of certain sources, and they can be a lot more skeptical when it comes to what other people think and what other people know, and just general statistics and knowledge out there. And INTJs have FI child, whereas ENTJs have FI aspirational. So this can be pretty different as well. INTJs much more optimistic about their own feelings, a little bit more optimistic about feelings in general. They don't mind sharing or showing their feelings, whereas ENTJs can see feelings as a bit more of a weakness even, and stuff them down and not only always want to share them. But ENTJs can also be really aspirational if they go after a career which they think is morally good, or they spread the truth which they think is morally good. They can really try to, put that to the test and be as aspirational with what's good and what's moral as possible. Whereas INTJs might not always, bother to aspire as much. They're kind of more secure in their sense of self-worth, whereas ENTJs can be a little bit more insecure about their worth. And yeah, ENTJs have SE child, whereas INTJs have SE aspirational. So ENTJs, they're really pure. They're really optimistic about the experiences they give others when they're hosting, when they're, showing people things, when they're taking people places, when they're living in the present. They're assuming it's going to be a good time for everybody and that the present is really special. Whereas INTJs are a little bit more hesitant. They might not want to obligate people or force others to do things they don't want to do. And INTJs can be a little bit more socially hesitant and a little bit more apprehensive and worried that they're giving people bad experiences. Whereas an ENTJ is just going to be bold and optimistic and, showing you things and putting on shows and being dramatic and having that flair. Whereas INTJs can be a little bit more hesitant about that. When it comes to their temperament and interaction style, both types are intellectuals, so they prioritize career knowledge. Like I said before, they do care about this. It's going to be one of their main focuses, is kind of what they achieve. And INTJs are finisher types, so INTJs can often work on projects alone. They can be really determined and diligent with their introverted intuition. They can work towards the end goal they're going for and really progress things and have that kind of introverted intuition focus, get things done. They're going to finish things. If they start school, they're going to want to finish their degree. They're really focused on finishing things and getting things accomplished. Whereas ENTJs are structure types. They like to oversee others. They like to be the boss. They like to tell people what to do. They like to, be in charge. So these types like to take charge, be the leader, get things going in that way. Whereas INTJs, they're a little bit quieter. They like to be included on things and maybe involved and have other people start stuff. And then INTJs can kind of work on their independent way alone and get things done. INTJs have a lot more of that internal energy, that introverted intuition and introverted feeling that, what do I feel I want? What do I want that's good? I want this because it's good. I want this because it's good. Whereas ENTJs have that external energy. They're all about, what do people think they'll enjoy? What do people think of this experience that I could put on? And they want to put on these big experiences to have people, have a good experience and also think higher of them. And they're much more motivated by this kind of external force. Whereas INTJs, a lot more internal, a lot more independent about what they want. So I hope this explains some of the kind of key differences. It doesn't go into a comprehensive list, but that's some of the kind of basic differences between these types. If you want to learn more, you can go on type.ca/handbook or get some advising. If you want to be typed, we do really good and quick typing that can help you kind of figure out where you land in the spectrum. So if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, like I said before, then you can subscribe down below, and I hope you all have a great day.